Are you live? Are we live? I'm like sitting here like this.
Like, yes, it is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live show for Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. That was a really terrible intro to this live show. I'm very sorry about that. So if you guys don't know, we have a book club called the BiblioBookClub, and you can check out our Goodreads in the description or on our channel somewhere. We host a book readathon book club thing. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Every 3 months, for the past 3 months, we were reading Passenger, and this is our live show to discuss it. So if everyone wants to go down the line and introduce themselves and maybe start with like their initial or general impressions of the books.
Can we also say hi and thank you, Megan, for being here, our new host. Hey.
Yes, if you didn't know, Megan's one of the BiblioBookClub hosts for the summer, and she was sweet enough to jump in on the discussion for Passenger. So welcome, Megan.
Hi. Do you want me to just start with my thoughts?
Yeah, you start, and then Red, and then Sierra.
Okay. I read Passenger a little while ago, so I'm hoping I'll still be like fresh with what's going on. But I really enjoyed Passenger. I found it to be slower at first, but then once you got more into the world, I was really like sucked into the world, and I really enjoyed it. I guess that's just about it.
Fred, go ahead.
By the way, excuse me for eating. I am really hungry, and so that being said, I think I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. And like overall, I mean, there are definitely slow spots for me, but I feel like it was just overall really well executed and crafted and put together.
I agree. I just finished the last page like 5 minutes ago because I'm a slacker. And I just rated it on Goodreads 4 out of 5 stars because I felt the same way. I feel like the first 40 pages, I was having such a hard time getting into it. Like I just was not feeling it at all. And then I was like, okay, well, I love Alexandra Bracken, so I'm just gonna do it. And I am glad I made that decision.
Good. Yeah, I really enjoyed Passenger. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, I agree. It was definitely a little bit slower at first, but like as soon as like the story got introduced and the plot picked up, like the book really got exciting, and I couldn't stop reading it. I read it a really long time ago, like Megan. I think I read it in December, but I thought it was really well done, and I'm really proud of Alexandra Bracken because it's so different from The Darkest Minds, and a lot of authors can like try and expand their boundaries with writing, and they publish a new thing and it's never as good as the first, but I think Alexandra Bracken achieved that in like a different way. Like I wouldn't say it's better than The Darkest Minds, but I think it's comparable, and like I'm just really impressed that she was able to succeed with something that's so different from The Darkest Minds. So if you guys have any questions, the Q&A app is open. And you can also tweet us at BiblioBookClub with all of your questions. So what do you guys want to start with? How did you guys feel about the ship scene? Because that's probably part of my favorites. Red, do you have a question?
I just was going to talk about that. Okay. The pirate ship and the pirates alone, and the fact that they're pillaging and plundering these other ships was enough to raise this book an entire star for me. I'm not even kidding you. I love it so much. I love pirates, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I do have something to say about that scene, and because I first started trying to like listen to this audiobook-wise, and it was really hard. I do not recommend it because I had no freaking idea what was happening the entire time, and it was very upsetting. So that happened during that scene. So I was like, no, I don't know what's happening. This is stupid. So I started it over, and then I liked it. But the first time around, I was like, this is stupid. What's happening? But
was the narrator any good, or do you think that might have had something to do with it too?
I can never find a good narrator. I have never listened to an audiobook that I have been like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Gotta listen to
They always try to like fake the accents, and it makes me annoyed. I'm like, just read the book to me. That's all I need from you.
I totally agree.
The diviners. Just throw it out there.
One of the things I loved the most about that scene is when Etta slaps that guy. I don't even remember his name.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god. And then she was like, and I'll see you in hell then. Like,
I think his name was Ren.
Yes, it was Ren. Oh my god, he was such a douche canoe. I hated him so much. I'm so happy Etta put him in his place.
I don't remember this part. I literally just finished it a few days ago, so why am I
it was a part where they were at dinner and Ren, the guy that
Oh, yeah,
was like talking crap to Nicholas,
right?
was being real racist. Let's be real.
Oh yeah. Okay, I do remember.
Ass.
I hated it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was just perfect.
Yeah, I wish it was longer. You know what I mean? Like, I had so much fun with the rest of the book, but like I really, really enjoyed everything on the ship. Because I feel like we don't see a lot of scenes like that in young adult. You know what I mean? We never have like pirates.
I got bored with the jungle, so they could have just added more pirate ship at that
Oh
point.
my gosh, I was so bored with that part.
I didn't like the jungle either.
It was really just, I feel like everything was pretty good pace. I was pretty cool with London. I was even pretty cool with Damascus. But that jungle part, it was just so slow and boring for me that I actually kind of struggled and put down the book for like a day or so because I just was not motivated during this part.
It was good when they first got there, but then, like, a little bit after that, I was like, oh, okay, are we done yet?
It was all 5 minutes.
Here's the next passage.
Yeah, all I remember from them.
Talk about how time travel is portrayed in this book. I think it's really fascinating.
Oh my god, I think it's so cool.
I think it's so awesome that, like, the days just keep going, and no matter what day you go back, it would still be, what's the date today? March
17th.
March is April. April 17th. So if I were to go back to, like, the 1920s, it would be April 17th, 1920. Like, that's so weird. I like it.
One of the things I think I said in the review, I might be like confusing myself, but it's natural, right? Like the passages are like there and they're set there and they don't move and like they go to that specific time, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. See, I really love that aspect because I feel like it's so much more complicated than you'd be able to just travel to any time, any place, whenever you want. Like, you have to go to the passage, and I just thought it was super unique. And I also think that it was explained really well because I think a lot of the times when you involve things like time travel, like, there's a million paradoxes, and it's confusing, and the system doesn't really make sense. But I think that it was, like, a really, really well-developed sci-fi element.
I would agree with that. I kind of feel like the idea itself, like, I feel like if I was the author coming up with this idea, I'd be like, oh, man, it would be a really cool book, but then would have no idea how to actually craft it and construct it well, and I feel like she just knocked that out of the park.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
It also adds to, like, the thriller aspect of it, I guess. Maybe not thriller, but, like, because they have to travel to the other passage that they need to get to. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's not thriller.
Adventure?
Suspense. There we go. Thank you.
Megan, what did you think of the magic system?
I really liked the time traveling too. I thought it was very complex, like you guys were saying, and that she handled it and executed it well. And I also thought that it was kind of like more dangerous for time traveling as well, because if you didn't know that passage, then you didn't know where you were going to get spit out in.
Yeah,
that was
really interesting too.
And the thing about, like, if they went back in time, they couldn't mess with anything or change anything because it would throw the whole timeline off and people wouldn't exist and yada yada yada. So it's like kind of dangerous, serious time traveling.
Yeah.
Oh, this is slightly unbook related, but it's live show related. I solved the Kelly mystery. She's sick. Sorry.
Oh, poor Kelly. Kelly was supposed to be here, but she's not feeling well, which we just found out.
I feel like I'm running around this weekend, so sorry, guys.
While we're on the topic of time travel, before we move on, what part of the book was your favorite, like, timeline-wise?
London.
So, like, yeah, it had the boat, London,
Even
Paris for half a second.
Yes, Paris for half a second. Then they went to the jungle. I feel like there was, like, 2 more.
That was the ship.
There was present day, then there was, like, what was it, like,
the very end part, like the desert, whatever that was called.
Damascus.
That was 1599, Damascus.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think there were any other timelines in that.
No, I think that was it. My favorite was London, because I just really liked how, while I don't like Rose, and we can talk about that later, I really liked, oh my god, I really like how she taught Etta how to get to Alice's house, like if she ever found herself in that timeline.
Yeah.
I liked the letters that she made and how only Etta knew how to decipher the letters.
Oh my god, I thought
Although the only thing I could think about when she was doing that is like, how big is the heart supposed to be? How big is this heart?
Oh, true.
I don't know. I was annoyed.
Oh yeah, just because I'm like your point, sort of answering what the Anima book says. When we say single, we're talking about women in Cambodia.
that's what I thought it was.
The place because she pays more attention than we do. But we do actually have a couple of questions, which I actually think we have some pretty awesome questions here.
Go for it, Red.
So the first one that I saw was by Taylor Talks Books, and she asked what our family sigil would be.
What's a tree again? I read this a million years ago. What was
it? Tree. It's kind of like a coat of arms, but it doesn't have to be a coat of arms. It's kind of like anything. It's like your family symbol, kind of.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense now because of the tree that's on the cover.
That would be a tree.
It would be a tree. Like, that would be really, actually perfect.
Can mine be like a dream catcher?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like a thing. Like, what are the guidelines?
I was going to say Dreamcatcher, and now I feel like I need to pick something different, even though I have an entire wall full of Dreamcatchers.
I do that too, Red. I have a wall of Dreamcatchers.
An entire wall full of Dreamcatchers, but now I feel like I need to pick something else. I don't know. Why did I pick this question? This is hard to say. My entire family hangs in the balance.
I don't know. I think that's a really interesting question. That's like asking what your Patronus would be. Like, it's really hard to pick those things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Maybe like a skull and crossbones. We'll just keep it simple.
What did you think it was?
Skull and crossbones.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good one.
I don't even know. I have no idea.
Something cute, because you're adorable.
Oh.
We had a question from Cassie. Cassie's who is one of our other hosts that didn't get around to being in this live show. Oh, I just had the question. Where did it go? She said, yes, I love Etta.
Ooh. I like Etta too.
I love Etta. I love Alice.
I really like Etta, but I also really like Nicholas.
I didn't like Etta at first, but she really grew on me.
My thing with Nicholas, I think it's just like my problem with multiple perspectives in general. I always like the first person's perspective so much better. Like, no matter what it is, and this happens to me all the time in books, like when I like a love triangle, like it's always the first guy introduced and I can't change. But I don't know. I'm really weird, but I found myself wanting to read more from Etta and less from Nicholas, but I do think he's a really interesting character.
I think I like both equally.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I didn't prefer one over the other, honestly. I like both.
I thought his point of view was really interesting because he was like going through all these struggles of not wanting to like get too close to Etta because of the time that he's from, which I thought was interesting. And also, like, when he sees cars and all that kind of stuff. Like,
oh my god, that was the best.
I was going to say something like that too, Sierra, that I liked the dynamic of them together and him being so, like, standoffish about being a person of color, and she just didn't even realize it because she's from the 20th century. Didn't care, and I thought that was, like, cool that Alexandra Bracken did that too.
And didn't they have a conversation about, like, one not being able to live in the other one's timeline? Like, Etta couldn't leave the 20th century, and Nicholas didn't know how to live in the 20th century. Like, I think that's a really interesting part of their relationship, because I feel like we don't see a lot of lovers from completely different timelines in YA, so I think that's really...
Well, and he also told her that she couldn't come back to his timeline with him because of, like, literal laws against him being with a white woman, which I think is fascinating as well.
Can
I just, okay, I mean, I don't know if this, are we allowed to talk things that are kind of spoilery? Because I feel like it's not super spoilery at all, but I feel like somebody could perceive it that way, so I don't know.
I think we're in like the spoilery section.
I just want to make sure
It's like 10 minutes.
Really mad at me.
Hey, spoilers from now on.
I just wanted to say how much I appreciated the fact that Alexandra Bracken had no problem getting them to have sex in the first book. It didn't take until like book 3 or never. Like I was like yes, thank you.
I love Alexandra Bracken so much.
Like I like how she didn't feel like she had to build it up there, you know.
I think she definitely took a risk with this book. I'm really disappointed that a lot of people didn't like it, and like there's so many 1-star reviews of it on BookTube. But like I thought she did so well with this book. I'm so excited for Wayfarer. I can't ever see it.
Did you guys see the cover yet? I'm not too sure.
No, I don't think they released the cover.
Yes, they did. It was like 2 days ago.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I'm so out of the loop. I'm gonna look it up right
It's
now.
on her Twitter.
Oh. Oh wait, maybe I did see it. What color are the covers?
Like
what color?
purpley, kind of. It's like a weird tree.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of it. It looks weird.
Really?
I think it might look better in person, but I just feel weird about it.
Alright.
Yeah, I want to see.
And then while you're looking that up, Canada Books has asked a couple of questions as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Which one I feel like answering more. I'm going to answer the one that I feel like we can answer quicker, and then we can answer the second one. But so the first one is, did we like the fact that they were a biracial couple?
Yes.
I love it, but I also don't notice that stuff because it's not something that I ever pay attention to, even in real life. So like at first I wasn't even paying attention to it at all. So like okay, and
right out of my mouth. I feel like I didn't even think about it unless they were bringing it up.
right.
Mm-hmm.
In Darkest Minds, Chubbs
Oh yeah.
colored, and like I didn't even know that until like after I had already read them. I had never paid attention to it. Like it just doesn't faze me at all. I don't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like a hard thing to identify in books, but I feel like we just don't get a lot of them in YA, so I like that aspect of it, and I like how like it doesn't feel forced. You know what I mean? I feel where did Megan go?
I think she was really echoey, so I think maybe.
Also, side note, I saw the cover of Wayfarer and I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
The first one is so good, but I don't know. I don't like the I don't like the color of the font.
What is that thing on top of the tree?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a little weird.
But yeah, at least as far as them being a couple, like, I mean, even when I would, like, read it, like, I imagined her as, you know, white, and I imagined him as African-American and everything, so it wasn't even like I changed his appearance in my head or anything, but I just never really thought about it. Like, it didn't seem weird or abnormal to me. Like, wasn't going like, oh, yeah, look at this biracial couple, so much as I just didn't think twice about it, unless they were specifically talking about that.
Yeah, I think what might have influenced me to see it more is I watched the book trailer multiple times before I read the book, so like I already had like a clear-cut Etta and Nicholas in the book. What'd you say?
I haven't watched it.
That's how I imagine him.
Oh yeah, the book trailer is actually fantastic. It's one of the best ones I've ever seen. There was a lot of production quality to it. It was really, really great.
I never watch them because I don't like to watch them until after I read the book, and then usually I forget about it anyway, so I never end up watching it.
Yeah, you should definitely watch the book trailer. It's really, like, you won't be disappointed. It's actually really, really great, and there's, like, going back after reading it now, I watched it again, and, like, you could, like, pick up on, like, where they are and what they're doing through it. It's really cool.
Wow.
Do you guys have any, like, favorite specific scenes of the book? Like, I know we talked about, like, what timeline we liked the most, but, like, were there any scenes that you liked?
I really love it.
Oh, go ahead, Megan, sorry.
I really like the litany when they were down in London, and they were down in the subway, and she was pretending to play the violin, and then someone started playing, and she was playing the pretend violin on Nicholas's arm.
Yeah, I love that.
That was the exact one I was gonna say. I love that one so much.
I love it.
I got a lot of If I Stay feels from that scene. I don't know if you guys read it, but like she plays the cello or something, and she plays the cello like on his body in the book, and so like that's what I was thinking.
Driving the different body parts and what they are on the cello. Like that's exactly what I thought of.
Megan's having Wi-Fi problems.
Oh no, Megan, come back.
Come back, Jack, come back.
I love when they very first kiss because I think it's so adorable. Because like he's all mad at her for getting almost attacked, or like because she disappeared or whatever because they were in the jungle, and then she tells him to go grab the snake so they could eat it later, and he like laughs it off and just goes for it. And I was like, oh my god, it's cute.
While we're on the topic of Nick and Etta, do you guys think it's insta-love or not? Because a lot of people, like, their biggest complaint, like, that was one of my complaints, is that, like, it felt very insta-love. Like, did you guys feel that way when you were reading it?
I knew it was happening, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah, I feel like I could, like, when I look at it logically and break it down, like, chronologically, it's insta-love, but it just didn't have that feel of insta-love. Like, where the hell did that come from? Because I couldn't develop well, even in a short period of time.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it didn't bother me, but, like, I guess if you broke it down, it probably was technically insta-love.
I agree. I also feel like because they just had chemistry from the beginning, and it was like forbidden love.
That's what I think it was. Like, I like to describe a lot of the things that people are like, this is insta-love, and I hate it, and it's gross. Like, I'm always like, I think it's more like insta-attraction, because you can, like, you can be really attracted to someone at first, and that can play out in the way you interact with each other. It doesn't necessarily have to be love. I know, like, halfway through the book they say they love each other, but, like, also with YA, like, it's kind of come to be expected now. Like, there's always the romance is always introduced in the first book, and it always gets pretty developed, and there's always a kiss before the end of the first book. So, like, I've come to, like, accept it. Like, I don't complain about insta-love too much. I just always feel the need to, like, ask, like, did you guys think it was insta-love or not? It's one of the biggest problems people have with this book, and I'm like, this book was so good, though.
That's not even, like, a big thing to it.
I feel like the way I see it, though, like, when we, sorry, the echo's, like, throwing me off. When, like, you meet somebody in your real life that you're attracted to, say you swap numbers and stuff, like, there's no huge development with you guys, like, flirting and saying cute things and wanting to be around each other. It kind of just happens. It's either there or it's not. Whether it turns out to be this epic love that they have isn't really the topic, you know? But I feel like it was more... I feel like that's what really happens in real life. You meet somebody that you have that instant connection with, don't wait around until it seems appropriate. You know?
No, I totally agree.
Oh, and then Phantom of Book says the sex did happen pretty fast. I guess it just depends on who you're asking, because I personally didn't feel that way. But we'll move on to the
I think it also has something to do with the situation that they're in, because, like, come on, if I was thrown in a situation like that with someone that I was already attracted to in the first place, I mean...
If this is what you thought was your only opportunity...
Yeah, you don't know. Maybe I was going to die at the end of the 9 days.
Like, you have no idea where your lives are going to go. Like, personally, I would seize that moment, like, you know, like, that's what I would do.
Speaking of dying at the end, what is your...
I know. What?
I knew, okay, in all fairness, I knew she, like, there was no way. I knew she wasn't dead. Like, I wasn't even sad about it because I knew she wasn't dead.
I wasn't either. I just kept going.
I was just, like, in shock. I was so confused. I reread it, like, 7 times because it was like, what just happened? Like, I don't get it. But I just thought it was so big because, like, they never end the first book with, like, the main character supposedly being dead. You know what I mean? Oh, my God. Go, Megan, go.
I had to reread it, like, a bunch of times, like you said, too, because I was, like, really confused because she had gotten shot, and she kind of, like, ignored it a little bit. Like, she wasn't immediately like, whoa, I got shot. And then all of a sudden she, like, poof, and it was, like, gold dust or whatever. I forgot how they explained it. And I was like, what just happened?
Like, usually you kind of know if you're dying from a wound like that.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. She, like, noticed, like, way after.
I'm like, oh, the bullet wound, I'm dying, what? Or... Also, why does he keep shooting? Like, seriously,
oh, no.
what's up? Seriously, what's up?
Red, you're lagging.
Oh, I thought it was just me.
Oh, I had something I was going to say. Oh, that makes me really want to know what the hell happened to Julian. Why didn't he figure out to get back to everybody?
I'm so excited because we're definitely gonna meet him in the next book.
Yeah. I love the last couple pages where Nicholas finds Sophia beaten on the ground in the middle of the desert. I was like, yes.
I feel like you're probably gonna be like one of the only people to say this, but I actually really liked Sophia like a lot.
Ew, you
I want to rip her hair out. I hope there's no redemption for her in the next book.
I don't know what it is about her. I kind of like, I mean, not that I want her to win or anything, but it's like, I kind of admire her. Like, I really do. She's ambitious, she's misguided for sure, but she's curious. She's curious about the life that she could have, as opposed to the life she was always told that she had to have, whether it was by her natural timeline or by the Ironwoods. Like, she was told what her life was. She took it a little drastic, but, I kind of admire the curiosity and the ambition to go after it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. One of the things I said in my review is that, I really felt for her when she was talking to Edda about how, she, deserves the higher position, but, she's going to get passed over just because she's a woman. I think it really played into the timeline. And, when I read it, as much as I didn't like her for the way she was treating Edda before, I was like, oh, that's not fair. So, I wouldn't say that, I admire her, but, in that moment, it was interesting to see how, she wanted it, and she was probably acting like this just because she felt like she was being mistreated.
Plus, I found it really endearing when Edda was she was so curious about Edda's time where women had many more freedoms, and she was genuinely enchanted and just in awe of this, and I feel like that was a really endearing moment.
Mhm. How do you guys feel about Rose coming in the end?
God.
Not a fan.
I hate her so much.
I was so pissed. We went through all of this struggle. I say we as if it was me. Okay, well we kind of did. We experienced the book too. But I'm just so pissed that we went through all of this just for her to be like, "Oh, it's okay. I knew I was going to get out of there in the end."
She didn't even seem upset about her daughter at all. I don't care what she said.
Yeah.
She's not upset. This is your daughter here.
Well, she was a bitch in the beginning, too.
Mhm.
I never liked her.
Oh my god, and then you find out the Alice thing. I kind of suspected after a while, about halfway through the book, I started to suspect, but that didn't make it any less, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 17 bombs dropped in 3 pages. First of all, Rose shows up. Edda's not dead. Then we find out that Rose set this all up so Edda could go through this experience completely untrained, on purpose. And then we have that she killed Alice, and then Henry's her father. Okay, Alexandra Bracken, this is a little too much for my heart at one time.
I know.
There was also aliens alive after we thought he was dead this entire time.
That's true. Another one, just add on to the list.
Oh, and she's got it, and she's starting to meet, I don't know. And then she finds out that the guardian guy is actually her uncle, and she actually gets to meet a little bit of her family that, she never thought she would ever get to meet.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that
leaves Nicholas to go find Edda on his own. As quickly as she came in, she leaves. You know what I mean? Oh, I hate that woman.
I'm really excited for the next book, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Although, it's probably going to come out in a million years, and I'm not going to remember anything from this book.
I know. I'm already forgetting things, to be honest.
Yeah, I just finished it, and I forget stuff.
Megan, were you saying something?
Yeah, I thought one of the other things that at the end, when Rose's mom came back saying that, she kind of knew all of that was going to happen, and that she kind of hinted at someone warning her, and then it was kind of insinuated that maybe they were going through the same thing over and over until they got it right and actually destroyed the astrolabe.
Oh, really?
And that's when I was kind of because I was are they just getting thrown back in time and trying to fix it?
I
Question.
didn't even pick up on that.
Did my astrolabe picture help?
Yes.
I literally just imagined a giant gold sphere.
That's what I had in my head too until Red sent the picture and I was like, oh, that's much cooler.
Yeah. I was waiting for it. I was reading it because you sent the picture before I'd even gotten to them talking about it, and I was like, oh, That makes sense.
Yeah, like, I wanted to know because I was like, okay, I remember them saying that this was not unique to this book, that, you know, the powers were unique, but that it really was like a traveling device. So I was like, there's got to be fiction somewhere, because I was imagining gold and like spherical, and maybe it was something with like some kind of weird like quartz or crystal in it. I don't know. Like I was going very like 80s labyrinth with it in my head, and I needed to clear it up with Google.
We have a question from Phantom and Books. Do you feel like we could have done with a bit more history from place to place?
Does anyone have an answer from that right off the top of their head?
I think it was a good... Oh, Red. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I kind of liked how it was enough that you felt like she actually did her research for the places that they were visiting, and I liked that the tidbits were actually pretty interesting without being overpowering.
Yeah, I would say I hate history. Like, it's never been like one of the things that I like to read, like school-wise. But I feel like there's a perfect amount of story, excitement, history, interesting aspects that it didn't bother me. And I mean, I could have maybe gone for more, but I feel like maybe I don't want to be like history.
I don't want it to detract from the characters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, when I went to the passenger signing, like, one of the things they were talking about is research, and she was talking about how, like, much unbelievably amount of research that she did, and, like, she already likes, like, she's in love with, like, the 1700s already, so, like, that part was super easy for her to write because she had so much history on it, but on places like Cambodia, that's, like, she wasn't totally aware of, she had to do a lot of research on, but I think that's super evident in the books, which is super important for historical fiction, but I agree, I think that we had like more than enough history, and I think that like it's already like a very dense book with everything that's going on. I feel like that has to do with a lot of the fact that it was a little bit slower at first because it's pretty dense in like the content of it, and I think that more history might have distracted us from that.
I thought that she did a really good job of the history elements too, especially when you guys already said that she did really good on the places, but she also did her research, like you were saying, because I went to her event for Passenger as well, and she did her research on what they wore, because she let you know what they wore in such and such place during such and such time, and I thought that was interesting because that was another like historical like element added, but it wasn't like too much where you were like, oh, historical fiction, because I don't really like history either, like you were saying, Sierra. So I thought it was a good enough amount to keep you like reading still, but not enough for you to be like, ugh.
And I kind of like that she filtered the information to it pertaining to the story itself. It wasn't like, here's a random fact that has nothing to do with anything that they're doing. It was like it pertained to what they were doing, the situation they were in, so it made it more interesting and applicable to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Who do you guys hate more, Cyrus or Rose?
Rose.
Rose. Yeah.
I hate them
Rose.
so much.
Rose is like Cyrus did nothing. They just at least he's a straight up like asshole. He was so upfront about it. He owes Etta nothing. But Rose is Etta's mother. That
I don't know, big. I can't stand it.
Oh my god, I really hope she dies. I have a feeling she's not gonna die, but like I hate her so much. She doesn't deserve to live. How do you just send a daughter through time without any prior knowledge? Ugh.
I know. Poor thing too, like how she first like just woke up on a fucking ship and she thought she was in like she was on a set. She's like, I'm on a set. I don't know how I got here, but they're really playing it off well. And I'm like, this poor fucking child.
I think because of books like this, one day I'm gonna randomly walk through some crazy movie set, and I'm not even gonna believe it's a movie set.
Red, could you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
I was saying that, sorry, I can speak up again. I was just saying that, like, one day I'm going to walk through some crazy movie set, and I'm not thinking of books like this, I'm not going to believe it's a movie set, because I always believe it must be on a movie set, and I will believe it. Nope, that's it. I went back in time.
God. Siri, you had a question?
No, Kelly had a question. She said, if you were to time travel, what time would you want to end up in?
That's a really good question.
That is such a good question, and I have no idea how to answer it because I hate history.
I think I have one.
What's yours?
Like, well, I don't know if it's like accurate either because I don't know history that well, but like 1920s Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And like New Orleans.
Louisiana, yeah.
I was gonna say 1920s New York, but then I think about like going back in history, and I'm like, I don't know if I like.
We would pretty much be like strippers to get by.
Yeah, I'm like, I think about it, and like, I'm like, like the 50s would be cool, but like segregation, you know what I mean? Like, you go back to all these time periods, and you're like, oh yeah, like that seems fun in theory, but like actually living during it.
I think I would travel to the future to see like how shitty it is.
You travel to what?
The future.
You're never the optimist.
I don't know if I want to know the future, to be honest. I'm a little terrified with this coming November, so we'll see how the future is gonna go.
Okay, I think I probably have 2 times, and it's only to visit. I would basically, because of political and social issues and female oppression and all that jazz, I would not actually want to live in any of these other countries, no matter how much I glorify pirate ships. But if I had to pick two times to visit, because I can't decide between them, one would be 1920s Paris, mostly because I would love to meet like Scott Fitzgerald, Ella Fitzgerald, Zelda Fitzgerald, or just like some of my favorite 20th century American writers. Like I would love that, and like it would be so fun to party with them. And if you've ever seen Midnight in Paris, like you know what I'm talking about here. The other one would have to be probably like late 1500s, because I think it would be so amazing to be in the very heart of an artistic revolution, the complete like Renaissance man, where you've got Leonardo da Vinci and you have Michelangelo and all the amazing, wonderful artists and revolution in their culture. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I also would like to go back so I can go to Woodstock. That would be.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say I want to go back to the 60s. Those are my people.
Part of the media. That just needs to happen.
Mhm. I'd
Yeah,
also
see
want to
Jimi
be
Hendrix live.
older in the 90s in England.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a teenager in the 90s would be cool too.
Yeah, oh my god, I would live to be, or like, yeah, I would love to be like a teenager, like around the time I was born.
Me too.
Like just go back to more years.
Oh my god, like seriously, where all of my friends and I will be wearing our tattoo chokers and singing along, so I'm not the only person.
Oh god, I had another question, but I can't remember what it was. I had like a really great question. Dang it, I had such a good question.
I hate that.
One of the questions I did have is, what did you think about the fact that like the passages were like related to the certain note, and like the reason Etta like ended up going to that first passage is because she played the note while she was performing. I thought the music aspect was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was really cool too because like you really don't see a lot of main characters that had like an instrumental like a talent to play an instrument besides like the only one I could think of was Jem besides Etta, and I thought it was, oh, I haven't read that, but I thought it was cool that not only did she have like that awesome talent, but that it actually played into like the time traveling, that you played that certain note and you could find the passage by hearing like the awful sound or whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of main characters in YA don't have hobbies, or if they have hobbies, they like stop immediately like through the series as soon as they get involved with something. Cough, cough, Clary Fry. But basically, like I think it's cool because like that's not gonna happen because like the world she's thrust into now has to do with her music, and it's kind of like destiny that like she, you know, is a violinist who plays and performs and understands music, and then like the whole aspect of this new world is basically based off of music.
Right.
Personally,
I think it's cool.
oh, go ahead.
Was someone saying something?
I was just gonna say that, like, I thought it was cool that she was a musician, only because I like characters that are normal and have hobbies and ambitions and dreams, and she wanted to be a concert pianist, and she had her whole life laid out for her. But as far as the fact that playing a certain note opened the passages, I don't know that I really cared. I didn't dislike it by any means. I just feel like she could have thrown a potato at it, and I would have been just fine with that. Like.
Yeah, I think it's more like the way I see it. It's more that like it's just like another intricate part of this world. Like it wasn't just that like you know, you like pop and you snap your fingers and you think of where you want to go and you go, or you use a machine for it. Like I just think it was interesting how like not only is like the passage already there, like you call to it to find it. Like I just thought it was like another add-on to how this time travel world is super individual from other ones. I remembered the scene I wanted to talk about when you're done with discussing that, because I think Sierra was about to say something.
Sorry.
That was my fault.
I was going to say, for all the different things that happen in this book, like all the little pieces that we've been talking about, it's really well put together because I didn't feel confused at all. Because a lot of times when I read books like this, I get so confused and I have to reread chapters and chapters, and it takes me months on end to finish a book, and it drives me insane. But I didn't feel that with this. I felt like it was just easy going, even though there were so many little aspects of things that like should have been confusing, but she executed it well enough that I just felt like easy breezy reading it, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think everything about this book was like really well executed. Like again, like it shocked me that people didn't like it, to be honest.
I even thought the writing was good, and you guys know that usually I'm like, oh, the story was good, the writing kind of bothered me, but like the writing didn't bother me at all. Like I feel like I didn't even notice the writing, which is always the thing that I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be Shakespeare. I just want to not stop and notice the writing. I want to be so immersed in the story that I'm not distracted by the writing.
Red, did you read The Darkest Minds?
No.
Did everyone here read The Darkest Minds?
Yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know from, like, my experience of reading it, it's so much more sophisticated than The Darkest Minds, too, which makes you really excited, because that means that she's, like, growing as a writer, too, and, like, you know, she stepped up her game from writing. Like, The Darkest Mind writing was fantastic, but I just feel like the writing in Passenger was, like, way more mature, and that's something that I'm, like, currently looking for in books. So I think that was, like, a really neat aspect to it. Like, I know, Red, you don't have anything to compare it to, but I'm glad that you noticed that it was, like, a really great writing style, because I totally agree. I remembered the scene that I wanted to talk about, which I thought was really interesting. You know how in the beginning where, like, they say that Henry sees Rose running through, if it was Paris or London, I'm not sure which one.
No, not Henry, not Henry. It was,
someone else.
It was, Nick's dad, you know, the Ironwood, Cyrus's son.
Yes.
Augustus.
Yes, that's what I thought it started with a J, but then I'm like, no, it's not Julian, and there weren't characters'
It's
names.
Julian's dad.
But, yeah, and then it turned out to be Etta. I thought that was so cool. I thought it was so cool.
That was cool.
I like how, like, they look so similar, and, like, I just thought it was so interesting that, like, that's just, like, another aspect to the time travel world. It's like, this already happened before Etta was born, but, like, it actually was Etta. Oh, my God, I don't know. I thought it was so cool.
That makes me confused when people talk about it like that.
I know, right?
I get so confused when it comes to time travel.
I feel like that part just reminded me of Prisoner of Azkaban.
It's the truth. Yeah, it's definitely kind of similar to the time turn in that aspect where, like, everything is a fixed point.
Oh, so confusing.
But I thought it was, like,
blew my mind that that Etta is not from the original timeline. Like, she's from the altered timeline. Like, Etta's life, as she knows it, should not even exist in the first place.
I know.
my head.
Stop. I'm confused now.
Do any of you guys watch Supernatural at all?
Yeah.
I've watched some of the seasons. I never finished it.
I'm not caught up. I'm on like season 9 or something. Aren't they on like 13?
I don't remember this episode. I don't remember what season it was in, but I just remember, like, this is almost what it made me think of. And there's an episode of Supernatural where I forget who it was, but somebody went. I think it was Cass. I think Cass or somebody went back in time and made sure that the Titanic didn't sink, so that everybody would continue to live their lives. Nobody would have ever heard of the Titanic because it didn't sink, and they had and disrupted the timeline so that they all had their descendants. That way, when fate had to go and correct the timeline, they had to go through and like kill all the descendants because they were never meant to be there and change the world. That way, they could get more souls for their Heaven's Army or whatever. And then Sam and Dean are like, well, you can't just go back in time to correct this and kill a whole bunch of people on the ship, even though that's what we know is what really happened and is how it should be. And it's like that, you know what I'm saying? It's like that complexity of which timeline do you choose?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if the original might be horrible.
Yeah, actually, I think it's Charlie McDonald has like a really interesting video that he posted a really long time ago about like the different theories of time travel, and they're basically like when you tell a story about time travel or like just in general, like there's only like 3 possible timelines that time travel could have, and it's like where one, like it's the fixed one, like in Passenger, where something happens that in the past that like has to happen now that it happened, like with Etta running through and Justice seeing her, or like there's the other one where like you change one thing and then everyone disappears, and I don't know, but there's I know what you're saying, that there's like different ones, but I think it's really interesting just because I know that he made that video of it a while ago, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many different ways time travel can happen.
It really just kind of blows my mind.
It definitely depends on the author with it, because there's just so many different ways that you can do time travel in general. I think it's super cool, and I think that Alexandra Bracken did a really, really great job with it. Do you guys have any theories for Wayfarer?
I don't know. I want to know who warned Rose. Like, who warned her?
Up on that, honestly. Or maybe it's because I read it so long ago, but I did not even think of that in the first book.
Because somebody had to, like, have told her to set all that up. Like, did she go back and be like, hey, set this all up, Etta needs to go destroy it because they're going to be watching you? Like, I don't know. Who told her?
I kind of want to see if Julian ends up being a good or a bad person, because I know that Nick loves him, but at the same time there were things that made me sort of question, like maybe he wasn't as bad as the rest of his family, but he did seem like he held on to some of their beliefs. Plus,
well, you know, he was playing Nicholas, just like Nicholas was playing Etta the whole time.
Yeah, and I just really wonder, like, what kind of person Julian really is. Not just how people remember him to be, because people seem to remember him differently. And I'm just curious to see if he ends up being a good person like we think he should be, or if it turns out he really is just another Ironwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I was just saying, I'm really interested to know if, like, how she's going to do the perspectives now. Like, is Etta still going to be one of the main characters?
Oh my god, if we get Rose's perspective, I'm going to die.
That's what I'm wondering, because, like, you know, they keep saying, like, Etta's gone, Etta's gone, Etta's gone. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if I want her to be totally introduced right in the beginning and finding out everything that happens. Like, I'm more interested to see the story of Nick and Sophia finding her. Like, I wouldn't be bothered if Etta was included in it. I think it would just be interesting to have, like, the main character that's introduced, like, not be a large part of the second book because they're trying to find her.
I really hope that Sophia is one of those villain turned hero people. Like, you know, you hate her immediately, but then she ends up being, like, one of the best people ever.
I think that's definitely
She dies in the desert.
words. Like, I think she's clearly gonna play a bigger part because she's included in the second book. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of characters that, like, they are introduced and, like, they don't play a big part. But now that she's on the journey with Nicholas, we're clearly gonna see more about her, and, like, I definitely think there's gonna be
kind of like in the selection series. You know how in the beginning you hate Celeste, and I don't know about you guys, but I love Celeste by the end of the series. So
I wouldn't say I love her, but I'm definitely.
I love her in the beginning. Well, I tend to really
loved her.
I feel like I kind of like awful people because I really loved Celeste in the beginning, and then I liked her more at the end.
Oh my god, she's such a. I hate her.
I hate her. Let's not talk about it.
If you read the selection stories, you get one about her, which I think is really cool. I was gonna say something else. I had like.
I'm gonna have to head out soon, guys.
Yeah,
I have my softball game in like 15 minutes, and I haven't even gotten dressed yet.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any more questions or things we want to discuss, I think we're pretty ready to wrap it up anyways. Anyone have any last-minute questions? If you have any last-minute questions.
Cinnamon Bugs just asked, are you guys excited to get... Are you guys excited for when we get to use the astrolabe and open new portals? Or whatever it's called. Astrolabe.
Oh my god, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
I want to do that with another question. Will one of those new portals lead to a pirate ship? If so, then yes, I am very excited. If not, well, I don't care why.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how they're going to do with them having the astrolabe now. But, okay, does anyone have any last-minute questions? I think we all really enjoyed it, and we all are very excited for Wayfarer.
Yeah, I'm glad we all enjoyed it. Usually we have, like, one that's like, it was horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad we all enjoyed it. And I'm also really glad that, like, we all got to discuss it together finally. I feel like we've been trying to do this live show for, like, months, but, like, we finally worked together.
Thanks for letting me join, too.
Absolutely.
We're so happy that you got to discuss with us, and we're happy you're here. I think we should announce our next book before...
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for our next book.
Also, like, for those of you watching that voted for the next book, thank you for voting for the book that I already owned. I appreciate you guys so much.
I voted for that book.
Okay, so the book we're going to be reading for April to June is, I don't know the author, so somebody else say it before I embarrass myself.
Me Before You by Jojo Moyes.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this. When does the movie come out?
Is there a date?
I don't know.
They just always show you the trailers, but then it just says coming soon. It never has been
May. I think it might be this summer. So that's going to be cool because then we'll be able to discuss the movie.
June 3rd.
Oh, sweet. So then when we do the live show, we'll be able to talk about the movie too. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Why can't you guys live closer to go see it with me?
Okay, guys, I'm going to head out.
Yeah, I think we're ready to wrap this up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely tune in and find out when we're doing the Me Before You live show, and you can join in on the Goodreads discussion. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in another 3 months. Bye!